Hey, Richest you money maniacs, welcome back. In this video, we're going to talk about taxing the billionaires. Let's get right to it. Hey, Richest you money maniacs, Tom coming at you. Thanks for tuning in again. In this video, I want to talk about the proposed bills to tax the ultra wealthy and the large corporations by Bernie Sanders and colleagues. It is called 14th Tax the Rich Revenue Proposals for 2020. Woohoo! More taxes! Yay! Isn't it wonderful? We're getting taxed more. Okay, all sarcasm aside, let me ask you something as just a common sense kind of question, right? They tax more all the time anyway. Why is this new tax on anybody going to make anything different? I mean, they're already taxing all of us, and actually, statistically speaking, wealthy people pay considerably more tax than anybody else in the country. In fact, if not mistaken, I think it's like 70 to 80% of tax generated by the IRS is by wealthy people, because the middle class is non-existent, and lower income folks actually don't pay that much. So they just don't. So how is it that everybody is so convinced that elected officials who have not been able to balance a budget since the Federal Reserve was invented back in the 1910s or the 1917 or 13, I forget where it was, and we had the income tax that was supposed to be a temporary tax. See, a lot of folks don't realize this. That was implemented in World War II, still there, still taxing us, even though it's completely unconstitutional, but I'll get into that another time. All those taxes, and then of course all the thousands and thousands and thousands of other city, county, state, and federal taxes that we all pay all day long on every breath of air that we take, and yet they can't seem to balance the budget. But oh, that's okay, because to balance the budget, all we have to do is increase the taxes some more. But this time, we're not going to increase the taxes on you guys. We're going to increase them on the ultra rich and the large corporations. Yeah, let's get those guys. They're so evil, and they're money grubbing and greedy, business making and building products and services that I like to use on my cell phone, and things I like to buy at their stores and go to their websites and order for convenience, and I like their pricing and they give me good discounts. And what was I saying? So what was that? Oh yeah, and jobs that they create. Well, anyway, back to the more exciting side, which is that they're evil and we need to bring them down. See the difference? It's really exciting to get angry at people that you don't even know. In fact, people that create jobs, create tax bases, create wealth and value so that other people can benefit from it. Who is going to provide services to the wealthy people if you tax them so much, everybody, that they leave? It's already happened in New York City. I think it was Governor Cuomo that said it. You tax the rich, you tax the rich, you tax the rich, and they leave. And guess what? You know what? They can. Why? Because they're rich. And guess what? Anyone else in the world would be happy to have them. In fact, there are a lot of countries. If you listen to Nomad Capitalist, you can actually find out all the different countries that will, if you're wealthy, treat you very well indeed. So think about that when you're in such a hurry to tax people who've done nothing but generate value, because that's what wealthy people do. They generate value, they generate jobs, they generate businesses that folks can go and work at and make a living and raise their children and have a nice life. But no one seems to care about that. How about saying thank you for all of the amazing products and services that they bring? But we're not going to get into that. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to read the different points that Bernie Sanders and his colleagues have decided to tax the ultra rich and the corporations on, just so that you're aware. In case you haven't looked at this, this is something you should look at. So the first one is pretty easy. Number one is called the Billionaire Wealth Tax, and it's got an official looking number too, S.8277/A10414. Ooh, very official. It's supposed to wealth tax to attack inequality. How do you define inequality? Is that only because somebody has something that you don't? Or is it a certain amount of money? Is it when you reach the billionaire mark, so you should never really get there, should only get to $999,999,999, and then just not get that one more dollar for the billionaire tax? See, think about that for a second. Most wealthy people don't pay taxes because they don't claim any income. So I don't know how that's going to work. But anyway, that's a great idea, I guess. Not. So the second one is pied à terre. I don't know why they spelled it in French, but it means feet of the earth. What is that supposed to mean? S.44/A.4540, assessment of the mostly vacant extra homes of the rich. Oh, I get it. They, instead of using Latin, they used French, and they're saying a foot space of a house on the earth. So if you're rich and you have multiple homes around the world that are mostly vacant throughout the year, they feel that it's only fair that you get taxed harder on those empty homes. But what if you actually spend equal amounts of time in each home? I mean, how do you measure that? And who's going to be measuring that? And who's in charge of that? And what if it's a business and it's not actually a home, but it has a place for them to stay, and it's actually a business that generates them revenue? You see, that's another thing about these ultra rich people. They're really slick. They know how to use the tax code to define their properties so that they can't be taxed on it, because it's actually a tax incentive to do something the government wants them to do, like provide housing. So if they're providing housing, but they also happen to have a penthouse at the top of the housing unit, well, are we going to tax them on that? Well, I don't get it. This is not clear at all. But then again, this is Bernie Sanders. He's got it all figured out. The next one is Ultra Millionaires Income Tax. Dr. Evil steps in at this moment and looks smugly into the camera. Ultra Millionaires. Okay, ultra millionaires. Is that somebody, not just a billionaire, but now if you're a millionaire with multiple millions, now you're going to get it too. So I guess that whole $999,999,999 isn't going to work, because they're coming after you too. So basically, anybody who produces any significant amount of value, well, you know what happens then. You either leave or you just stop producing value. That's an incentive to stop doing anything. Sort of like all of the stimulus money that's out there now. Everybody that had jobs is staying home waiting for their stimulus money, and they refuse to go back to work. Didn't see that coming. Okay, next point. Fourth one, carried interest fairness fee. I love that. I love things that are fair. It makes me teary. S.303/A.3976. Existing, try that 5 times fast. Existing legislation for a multi-state compact with Connecticut and New Jersey. What's wrong with the rest of the states? I don't get it. Anyway, carried interest fairness fee. Anytime you see the word fairness in legislation, watch out. Run for the hills, because your version of fair is different than my version, and you can be sure that Bernie Sanders' version of fair is different than mine or yours. You think that his version of fairness is the same as yours, except that I don't see him scrounging for bread or standing in line for food for his family. I think he gets paid really well. So maybe you might want to consider how he defines fair before you go voting for something like this to go through. Because keep this in mind too, these types of legislations are really wonderful formats for later applying to other levels of income as well. See, if we don't all really get upset about taxing the ultra wealthy and the big corporations, well, then the next people to get taxed, of course, are us. And you know that's coming anyway. Before all of this sickness challenge and shutting down the economies, the Office of Accountability for the United States of America said that they would have to raise taxes 50 to 60% just to match spending before the $27 trillion was spent. So guess what? It's coming anyway, whether it comes from Bernie Sanders or some other source that you don't even know about yet. But it's kind of bold of them to take the lead like this. Good on you, Bernie. Okay, number 5, stock transfer tax. Down with those Wall Street wolves. How dare they make money and outsmart us and learn more about finance than us? Listen, if you've watched any of my videos, you know I don't participate in the stock market at all, simply because it has never been more obvious that everything stock market is completely manipulated. So you've got a snowball's prayer in hell as far as making any real money in the stock market. You're supposed to be happy, according to experts and advisors, with 4% over 30 years. How's that work for you when inflation is actually up 10 and 12 and maybe soon 50 and 60 and 1,000%? Okay, I'm down. I'm back. Number 6, corporate tax reform. Yes, let's reform the corporate taxes because they have all those loopholes. How about the loopholes where corporations just barter with each other and there's no currency involved at all? So there's no tax. Guess what? You do it to them and it's going to come to you too. That would squash the black market, wouldn't it? It'd make it really black market, I guess. It'd be the blackest of black markets because it'd be so black no one could see it. Am I going to get in trouble for saying black that many times in one sentence? That'll be interesting to see. All right, write in the comments if you think I will. Down below, next one, number 7, stock buyback, corporate greed tax. That's really bold for Bernie to write something like that. The word greed implies a lot. But you know what? Isn't it SEC rulings that require each corporation that's publicly traded to make a profit for their investors every year at any expense, no matter what it takes? That's right. It's actually an SEC rule. It's actually a rule. When you go public with a company, you are required by law to make profit for your investors every year. And so you have to do whatever it takes to turn a profit each year, or you will be in violation of a federal law. Corporate greed sounds like a rock and a hard place to me. Next one, number 8, CEO pay gap tax on big business. How dare those CEOs bring their wealth of knowledge and experience to a corporation and turn it around and make it lots of money for their investors and keep those jobs rolling for those folks that are punching the clock so that they have something to come to and make money for food for their families. How dare they, those CEOs? Damn them. We need to tax them. It's not fair. They should be getting minimum wage. You know what happens when you pay a CEO minimum wage? They don't show up. They go where they get paid the best. Listen, if you want the best, you better pay for the best. And when it comes to keeping a large corporation running, you can be sure you need somebody who knows what they're doing. So these guys are earning their money. And you know what? Good on them. They actually went and got the experience, got the education, and figured out how to do what they do. And you didn't. Although maybe you're on your way. You're starting with these videos. That's a good start. So next point. Number 9. Stop subsidies for real estate billionaires. Eliminate 421A and 485A. This is statute S.7238/8A-8848. Ooh, very official. Legislation to kill the subsidies and redirect the funds to public housing and affordable housing. Redirect it to people for housing who don't have enough money because they have not mastered their finances. This is the whole mentality of that I'm responsible for somebody else and they're supposed to be responsible for me. But the people who are supposed to be responsible for me don't seem to be doing much for me at all. In fact, I don't get any help from anybody. Everything I do, Everything I have, everything I've built, everything I do is because of my own effort. And yet I'm expected to take care of everybody else too. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go on strike. I quit. I refuse to be somebody else's keeper, and I would never ask them to be my keeper. But I'm not going to go down that path today. Next is the number 10, the 21st century bank tax. Ooh, it sounds really futuristic. 21st century. Does that mean it's a better tax than the 20th century tax? Oh, I don't know. It sounds like a tax is a tax to me. Just another way of the government making it sound, ooh, shiny and new. Make it look shiny. Hey, it's the 21st century tax. We're progressive. It's going to work great this time. You know what? It never works great. Taxation always does the same thing. It always slows down. It always belabors the market. It always makes elected officials more powerful. Where does all this tax money go? For all these years they've been gathering taxes, more taxes. They can print money out of thin air just by typing buttons into a computer. They don't even have to print it on cotton or paper or anything anymore. And yet they still don't have enough. They still don't have enough. Where's it going? It's going around the world to build empires, to build mansions for elected officials, to allow elected officials to be able to have endless terms and to be able to write laws for other people, but they don't have to follow them. I mean, think about it. You're giving your money, your hard-earned tax money, to elected officials who turn around and use it to make themselves better and make their families better, and then claim that, well, it was for the good, the greater good. It's the greater good that I have the greater good. That's a new phrase. I just made up a new phrase. It's for the greater good that I have greater good than you. All right, so on to the next one. Number 11, Corporate Landlord Tax. Have you ever been a landlord? I don't. Okay, hold on. S.7231/A.9041. Sounds real official, doesn't it? Corporate landlord tax. And who likes their landlord? Nobody likes landlords. They make you pay rent that you agreed to pay so that you can live in that place and have a roof over your head. You shouldn't have to pay for that. It's a God-given right to have a mansion. Everyone should have a mansion, right? Have you ever been a landlord? It's not fun. People cheat you all the time. And guess what? Things break all the time. So you're always making money, you're always making payments and trying to rehab and fix things up. Okay, anyway, on to the next one. Number 12. I hope you're enjoying this because I am. Okay, restore yachts and jets tax. Oh, I love it. This is awesome. Not just boats, but yachts. Okay. S.7135/A.9053. Reimpose tax on yachts and jets of the ultra rich. Again, who's the ultra rich? Are they multimillionaires, 100 billionaires, 100 millionaires, 100 billionaires, trillionaires? Does Apple have to pay twice because they have 2 trillion? And this is just ridiculous. It's a sale. You're already getting taxed on it with sales tax. There's all kinds of taxes on buying a large item like that. On top of the fact, think of all the jobs that are created by someone who buys a yacht or buys a jet. There are entire industries around that. So yeah, let's crush that industry some more, at least in the United States anyway, or maybe just in New Jersey or in Connecticut or New York and Connecticut. All right, and remember something. You saw the video. The mayor of New York recently begged his rich people to come back.
I say, you got to come back. When are you coming back? We'll go to dinner. I'll buy you a drink.
Why? Because they taxed them so hard they left. He was offering to buy them dinner. What a schmo. Come on, man. Dinner and drinks so that you can tax them to death? I don't think so. You got to get more creative than that. How about repeal some taxes? How about actually fund police so that the city is safe? How about that for an idea to get the rich people back? How about give them incentives to bring their value and their value creation back to that city before it completely disintegrates? You know, I'm a huge fan of New York. It was like my second home for years. I used to play in the Greenwich Village. It's a shame what you're doing to that city. You should be ashamed of yourself. Yes, I'm talking to the mayor of New York City. Okay, last one, number 14. Data tax on digital advertising, as if advertising wasn't expensive enough. Now, if you are ever having the idea of starting your own business, you can forget it, man, because now it's going to be so expensive to do anything to build your business. And then as soon as you build your business, they're going to tax you so hard, you're never, ever going to try to build a business again. I'm off onto another tangent. Anyway, data tax on digital advertising S.8056-A/A.10706. You know, here, first off, it says, enacts the Digital Ad Tax Act, DATA, establishes a tax on annual gross revenue derived from digital ads. Let's just think about this for a second, okay? When have increased taxes ever really accomplished anything it ever set out to do? Pretty much never. Every time a tax is imposed, it's always permanent, it always goes up, and it always gets lost in the bureaucracy that is the government. Anytime you build the government bigger without any checks and balances, which is exactly what's happening right now, you get rampant fascism, rampant totalitarianism, rampant just any kind of bad political situation you can think of or try to describe. The more you allow yourself to be enslaved by the debt of taxes, the more you will be enslaved. It's that simple. Now, I'm not saying don't pay your taxes if they're legal. And I'm not saying don't pay your taxes if they, if they're actually required by the Constitution. How about that? What I'm saying is, don't encourage these guys. They're like heroin addicts. They can't stop spending even before they bring these taxes in for the ultra wealthy or the corporate taxes. And guess what? That money, all of that money goes out to build more empire. Does it fix the bridges? No. Does it fix the infrastructure, the electricity? No. Does it actually go to the food banks? No, it does not. It goes to all of the political friends they have. Think about Muchin, right? Think about BlackRock. Trillions, billions, hundreds of billions vanished, and we are not allowed by law to see where it went. Public open records laws don't apply. You cannot go and look up where that money went. Why are they asking for more? Why should we trust them? Why would you trust them? Now, what do you get out of this in terms of building your own finance and how you need to master your own finance? You need to be aware that when people start talking like this, it is not a free market. It is not capitalism. This is not an exchange in abundance. This is slavery by debt, and the debt is called taxes. Welcome to the new chains. All right, so that's a pretty doom and gloom view, but I was laughing through a lot of it, so hopefully you got some entertainment value out of me laughing. But it is a very real topic that you need to study and be aware of. So I hope that you found this video helpful. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We have new videos every week. From Richest You, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you soon.